we started with this movement. What is that? That could be a few things. Okay, I'm not going to give you an exhaustive list of all the options of each movement. That takes a little too long for this video. I'm just going to give you one or two, maybe three different examples, enough to open your mind to learn how to think this way. So this could be a way to deflect a punch. If he's punching with his right hand, then I could pull it back. I'm raising it and pulling back. This can also work for a hook punch when I'm a little bit on this angle, or let's say, just for camera's sake, when I'm facing this direction and that punch is coming in, this could be a nice option. If you notice, there's a little bit of a tilt or a shift away from the punch to come out of the arc of the punch, but just in case, if I didn't move enough, I'm hopefully going to raise his arm a little bit upwards. Punch my chin. So this could be a possibility of, if my hands happen to be in a down position when that punch came, as opposed to more over here, then when that punch is coming in, then I raise it, pulling back. What's nice about this movement is, do that again, is that same circle that I generated for the deflection of the punch, I just continue that motion and it's recycling itself into a punch. And really unexpected and surprising punch, right? If you look at the reverse of that movement, like the chopping down motion that we did a little later in the previous drill, that would work better for punches that are towards my lower body, either an uppercut type of punch or a punch that's going to my stomach. So that would be chopping down. Now, there's ways you can do this either more gently, like cutting and dragging him back, or more, I would say, violently and knocking his hand away that way. You can experiment with whichever one you like, but the idea is that look where my hand is. Again, that same circle is going to go right into that punch. Okay? And it's really nice because you're almost continuing his body's momentum forward and you're meeting him somewhere in the middle with that punch. You punch with your left. Okay? So you see how that would play out if that punch is high, right? Then it's that motion we did earlier. If the punch is low, then it's that slapping down motion going into a punch. It could also be used slightly similar to a more circular type of attack, okay? Where the chopping is more of a strike or a heavy hook and slap, okay? Boom. And as you see again, it's taking you right into a hook punch, okay? Boom, strike. I'm a little faster. Boom. Right in. So if I do it more of a straight angle, then it's going to be a straight punch. If I'm dealing with a circular attack, it's going to lead me into a circular counter attack, right? Boom. See? Right into the face or to the throat. Elbow work, okay? So obviously, this could be a strike to the chin. Depends how tall the guy is. But if it's lower, then it could be inward to the solar plexus. If I'm really low, obviously to the groin. But also this could be used, I'm not the greatest fan of it, but it could also be used as a defense. If you're throwing a punch, okay, to sort of deflect and make sure I know where that punch is, and then right away I had this strike and wraparounds to arm breaks. So just play with that when you punch, raising it up like that. A sort of little shield of protection. Technically, I moved out of the way, but just in case, I raise it up to have an extra wall of defense and going into continuations like that. So this can be an offensive strike or more of a defensive movement. Downwards could also be defensive. If you punch in my stomach, then you can hammer it down on the forearm, very, very painful strike. Boom. Okay? Something I wouldn't advise if you suspect that a knife is in the picture, because the elbow is meeting his hand when the knife would probably already be inside of me. So just keep that in mind. You wouldn't want to use this movement unless you know for sure that there's no knife in the picture. But this is a really, really good strike to slow motion. When you strike, let's say I need the guy and he's really leaning downwards, forward, dropping onto the spine or the back of the neck, definitely would do some serious damage. Another application of this, I don't want to pull you back too far back, but if you pull the guy backwards and he's arched back, you can drop this down into the throat. I'll show it, I'm bending for a second. Let's say, you go, right, I'm here. So as I pull him back and down, I can drop his elbow into the throat, into the face, right? Of course, you can be vicious in here, strike him down, or to the face. So the downward elbow is a very, very damaging because it's got the whole body weight and gravity driving down. But this can also be used, this downward elbow, for other examples. For example, if you are choking me, okay? So dropping and breaking the grip, and from here, pinning, right, strike, stuff like that. So this movement has a lot of applications, okay? You can also, when it happens, grab again. You can also use this to go only into one arm and come around and take him into shoulder locks and wrap ups like that. So this is a really nice movement that has a lot of different types of applications. Of course, the one that we did across is a great elbow strike, everyone knows that. But also the same movement is actually a type of parry, similar movement for a hook punch. When that hook punch comes in, I'm here. So the only difference is when I'm doing as a defensive movement, I don't want to meet him with my arm completely bent. I want to meet him when possible with my hand a little more extended and then fold as he's coming in. Do the hook punch again, I'm here. Okay? And if you notice, after we did that elbow, we opened up with a hammer strike. Whenever your elbow was bent, the next move should always be an extension of the elbow. So you strike, if I'm bent, I should always open up into a forearm strike or raking of the face, hammer strike, something to do damage. The opposite would also be true. If my hand was extended, I should always look to see if there's an opportunity to bend it. For example, if you punch, okay, do the other hand so they can see better. Okay? If I punch low, my next movement should be maybe upward elbow strike. Think about that switch up like that, extending and bending of the elbow. We have the Slavic punch that we mentioned, which is just a very nice combo on getting a good way to practice using your arms, not to always pull back. But every motion should immediately lead you into the next motion. So you want to practice striking like that. 1, 2, 1. Just like that. Also, let's see, you punch, right? I struck, and then the other hand is coming in. As a way to strike the hand, that also could be a way to use, if my hand was extended and I need to use it now to do something to that hand, then I just bring it around in a downward hammer strike or back fist, another application of the Slavic combination. We did the brushing of the hair, right? So that's really nice for a straight punch, and it's very, very subtle movement. Now, of course, you want to always take at least a little step to the side, just in case you don't react in time, okay? And you can strike like that. Okay? It can also be done from the inside, like this, punch with that hand so they can see from here, and all this work below you. Whenever possible, you want to always be on the outside of the punch, okay? Here. And again, you can strike right over here, a very unexpected angle, okay? Boom, striking the kidney area, or the spine, or the back of the neck, but it's a blind spot. If you punch with this hand, you'll see that he doesn't really see what's happening over here. And all of this is open season. So when you're doing this brushing of the hair, it may look like a very casual and subtle movement, but it's really opening up a very damaging strike. Kidneys, okay? Obviously, it would also open you up to takedown type of work. Shall we all fun? From here, because I have this blind spot, I can easily hook in. Here. So any movement that brings you to the back of him could easily take him down. washing of the tables is one of my really favorite movements because there's so much centrifugal force and whiplash that you can use in that that it makes it into an incredibly damaging strike. Not even doing it hard, of course, but if you just feel from even this distance, that little wave, okay, you could almost knock a person out just from that little movement, hitting the back corner of the neck right below the base of the skull. But imagine if that movement was coming from all that momentum, just like we do in the washing the table drill, then it could be an extremely, extremely damaging strike. If, for example, you did a hook punch or something, and I did a slapping down movement, I would come around and whip that type of strike right to the back of the neck. I don't think a person will be able to survive that and to continue fighting after a strike like that. It could also be, yeah, okay. From here, see the hand is already, the body's already whipping the hand in, and that type of angle. There's many, many applications. This movement, if you had the opportunity to get two guys back, for example, you threw a punch, and I'm here, okay? It's short, but if you look at that movement, it's a piece of that washing the table drill. We're doing this just as a way to show this is not his arm, imagine this is his neck, okay? So if I hook my fingers around, I'm doing it now from a static position, just the pull, okay? Pulling him forward, again. So there's a whip happening, okay? Now imagine if I did it with this momentum from all the way around, come here, you can see it's multiplied force. And if I did that on the guy's neck, right, then that would create a tremendous amount of whiplash and disorientation, and that would take me right into some beautiful strikes from here to here, and a lot of little strikes that are very, very useful. So anytime you can get your hand behind the guy's neck, then he's like, oh, okay. From here, you right away have that pull, which is a piece of that washing the tables drill. So you see a washing the tables drill is an extremely good drill that has different ways how it can play itself out in striking. We had swimming. And swimming, we said, could be done to the center, it could be upwards, and it could be downwards. Swimming can be a really nice way to enter into the grappling range. So when the punch comes in, swimming your way in, and then I close the distance. Now I have the close range stuff, whether it's the joint manipulation or really close range strikes. Okay, if he's going to, let's say, a body strike, okay? So the swimming, slow motion, do that again, move a little bit back, and again, right? So I swim in, but instead of staying in that extended position, swim and wrap around his arm, and this leads us into all types of drops and interesting takedown work. Again, swimming in from this way, into the shoulder locks, elbow breaks, all of this work of a takedown. I'm not going to get into that now, I'm just showing you the actual entry, how it could be used to defend. For a hook punch, also possible. Swimming in. And then again, going into arm breaks or shoulder breaks like that. So you're entering inside of the arc of the hook punch. Boom. This leads us to another great movement that I actually forgot to put into the previous video. Is the archer's draw, we forgot that. Which is this motion. One hand going forward, one hand going back. Which actually, when I teach the reverse swimming, what I sometimes do in the beginning is teach just on one plane, this type of motion, which could be done with the elbow down or the elbow up, but very similar to the motion of drawing a big bow. And that's a very good motion to have because it puts you in a really good position. For example, just to show you from static, if you're choking me with two hands, so the motion, instead of going out directly against his force, I want to cut his force on two diagonals. Boom. Again, choke. Here. Boom. And this puts me in a great position. This is a strike. This is a strike. Takedown work. It sort of imbalances him because one of his arms is going forward and the other is going back. And it throws him off. Again, feel that again. from here, hands are coming in and splitting again. Here. So this is strike work, and the same thing could be used for that hook punch. When that punch is coming in, I'm here. And it's perfect setup because one of these is going to get in. If he's going to read that and block it, then this is coming in, right? And this is for sure going in. And it can be both together. It can be the same height or one high, one low. So that actually is a really good entry, which could also be used on a straight punch, slightly different, okay? Go faster, okay? Boom. Here. See what's happening? Slow motion. Punch is coming in. Boom. I'm creating this sort of line. Okay? Boom. And again, here we are, stay. From here, again, I have this strikes here. You can go to arm breaks with the chest. So this motion is actually a really good way to enter into a lot of different positions. And all that is coming out of the swimming-like motion, where one hand is swimming in. Right? Here, going on the inside. Right. Good. You do, let's say, a hook punch for more. This is more appropriate for a hook punch. So it's like the elbow strike and then opening up into a hammer or a forearm strike. Other hand, okay? And whenever I could, I want to grab his other hand when it's possible. Not always is it going to be possible. And this is a strike. Here, throat, eyes, throat to the left again. Here, arm breaks with the right. Okay. If I'm really close, it's going to be an elbow strike. If I'm further away, chop somewhere in the middle of forearm, that type of work. We did this interesting motion from the Garamushka with the arms, and it could be done like this or down. In other words, it could be here or switching it. And those are just ways of doing a block together with a body movement to evade the punch. So if you're doing a body strike, so that can be down and then going into attack like that. Again, same thing, this direction going in. If it was a high punch, okay, then that would be the block going that way, right, or to this way. So these motions, they pass my center, so that if the punch is coming in, it's passing the center line and bringing the punch down, or it's passing the center line and coming up. So these could be used to block, or not so much of a block, maybe more of an actual strike when that punch is coming in, using the bone to go into his muscle. That could also be if you're doing a low punch, right? That type of strike. There's a movement that I like to teach it from a completely different context, which actually could be used for the ground, but I like teaching it from the ground and applying it to defending against punches. And I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but it goes something like this, from here, and coming back up. One more time, slowly, hands down, and roll up to the back of the hand, back of the forearm, lowers the body to the floor, and back up. Doing it a little bit faster, and up, from here, and coming up. So the idea that I want to point out is this motion. And having no impact into the ground by landing on the elbow, but slowly lowering yourself down like a spiral down into the floor, like that. The application of that, when he's punching my body, for example, is that slowly I'm touching him and inviting him in and rolling him to the side. Go faster. That. Other hand. So just make sure to do it with your right hand so you can see that I'm not pushing him away. It's a different type of motion. I'm inviting him in. The feeling that he gets is that he's going where he wants to go, right? And boom. But you're walking him into a trap. So this is not about redirecting him or pushing him away, it's about getting out of the way. So I establish tactile sensitivity and contact, and then I guide him to the side. This motion, right, is interesting motion. First of all, when he throws a punch, especially a hook punch, it doesn't have to be a full folding of the elbow. It's enough, by raising the elbow, it's enough to redirect his punch. Slow motion. By his elbow being tipped up, that already redirects his hand in a new plane. Come faster to my jaw. So what that allows me to do is when I'm raising it up, I'm actually going into a strike at the same time. Other hand. See? I'm doing just enough motion with the elbow to give him a new direction, a new plane, but I'm still going out into my strike. It could also be downward, the punch. I did it now, not to the face, down to the ribs. But up, and as my fist created a new direction, you dive down. Another application of this movement, instead of the application being on this stage of the motion, it's on this stage of the motion. More of a face strike, you're coming in more a straight punch, okay? This motion, just boom. See, that part of the motion, do it with your left, that type of like a strike or a karate type of block. But notice that similar to Wing Chun, my hand is still pointed toward his face. I can right away go into a strike from there. Okay? Boom, you see? I did enough of that a hammer as it's coming towards me, boom, but I'm still right away able to hit forward. So I'm not moving him too much where now my fist is no longer pointed towards him and I would need to create a new strike. I'm just doing enough of that, but look, I'm still right away going straight into his jaw. Do it with your left again. Okay? Boom. Yeah, a little bit off. And even if you are a little bit off, you could right away turn into that strike. I'm going to do it to your chest. Right? Small, but when you do it with relaxation, you can actually generate a lot of power from there. So this motion, and then going into strikes. One last time, you punch, right? Here. Sometimes you have to just learn how to move your joints, and what may seem an obstacle, you just learn how to come around it very, very easily. For example, let's say I punch for some reason here, like just to give you an example, and your hand blocks. So instead of pulling back and creating a whole new movement, like me just raising my elbow, I could still go past them just by, like water, you know, when you put a piece of wood, a pole into a flowing river, the river will just envelop it and go around it. Similar, if I was doing some type of hook punch and he blocks it, okay, I just need to let my joints collapse around it and you can still keep going. So the concept is to let your body feel what's available to it. The paintbrush, did we show the application of the paintbrush movements? The paintbrush movements are really nice because this generates a lot of momentum. So if there was a punch coming in, this motion, even if from short, if you put your hand out for a second, even not from far, just from close, the swinging it down gives you a lot of impact because of that, like a whip. You're actually treating your arm very much like a whip. That's the idea. Downwards. So that could be used if there's a hook punch coming in from the side. Same thing. Okay. Slapping it down. Or downwards. These are not an exhaustive list of arm movements, but definitely enough to open your mind and teach you, more of the full range of possibilities that your arms have. And I gave you a few examples of each movement of how they could be used.